Industry Insider coming to you from BigSound 2012. We're here at the Tempo Hotel and joining me, special guest Rob Potts from Rob Potts Entertainment Edge. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been an interesting BigSound. It was great to meet you yesterday when you came over with Jasmine Rae, and it was great to see her at that showcase last night. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to sit down and have a chat to you, because you, my friend, are a very interesting man, and we wanted to get you down on camera and have a chat about your life in the music biz and where you started in your career. So can you take us through where you sort of kicked that off?
Oh, yeah, I sort of fell into the music business, really. Started managing a rock band down in Hobart. Sort of, what are we talking? Late 70s, 78, 79. Band called Sweet Poison, who are a couple of Sydney guys down in Tasmania trying to sort out who they were as a band. They were pretty sort of left of centre and extreme sort of alt rock, I guess. Anyway, we got a thing going in Tasmania, got pretty big for them, and they decided they wanted to come back up to Sydney and have a shot at it. And I ended up coming up and being their manager, and went from that. The band didn't last that long, but I went from that into being a booking agent, and then ended up owning my own agency, and then started getting into tours and promoting, and specialised in country about 25 years ago.
What prompted the move to specialise in country for you?
I don't know, we were going, like the rock business, particularly as an agent, I was in those days a venue agent, so we were booking about 30, 35 shows around Sydney every week through that period in the 80s with all the big Aussie rock bands, you know, Midnight Oil, Cold Chisel, In Excess, all of those bands. Yeah. And the industry started to over-exploit itself, so bands' prices got too high, ticket prices got too high, and it just started to become an ugly business. You know, you'd sort of get on the phone to, you know, another agent, because we're talent buyers, so we'd talk to all the booking agents who represented the acts, and they'd be telling you to get fucked and fuck off, and this is what it's fucking going to be, and if you don't fucking like it, get fucked. All that shit, yeah. Which, you know, I'm not a bloody Puritan or anything, but it was just a really angry way to do business. Yeah. And we went from having this great live rock scene in Australia to, you know, it fell off the cliff. But I could see it coming, and was starting to think about whether it was really what I wanted to do. And I just happened to come across a guy called James Blundell, yep. Who's probably the first contemporary modern country artist to come on the scene in Australia, and that I just kept being a rock agent, but started looking after him. And then the next year I came across this guy called Keith Urban, who just blew my mind.
Yeah, I think I know that guy. I know you do.
Yeah, I was actually sitting at home when it was during the Tamworth Country Festival, which I hadn't actually been to at that point, and they have a competition up there called Star Maker, which was on first weekend of the festival, and I'm watching the news on a Monday night, and they had this 30-second grab little story about Tamworth, and then this kid that had won the Star Maker Award, and I just went, holy fuck, who's that guy? Yeah. And I actually went to Tamworth the next day and did a bit of asking around, tracked him down, and hooked up with him, and ended up becoming his agent. And the following year, the guy that I'd been working with, who was managing James Blundell, called me up and said, I've got this new country act that I'm interested in, and if you'll do the agency thing for him, I'll probably take on his management. And that was Lee Kernaghan. Yeah. So it's sort of, I'm going, hang on a minute, there's something going on here. James Blundell, Keith Urban, Lee Kernaghan. And all of those acts were, you know, ringing it off the hook, gold records, platinum records, which is, you know, real sales. And I think, fuck, there's an audience out here that I don't really know about, and these people are actually quite nice to deal with. Mm-hmm. And so I just sort of went, fuck it, I'm gonna sort of get rid of the rock and roll thing, and started in the country side of it.
It's very interesting. Now, can we delve into a little bit about, one, your friendship with Chubby, which I found hilarious, the story you told me yesterday when you first met Chubby, and if you could, you know, indulge us, that would be great to hear that story. But also how you eventually got involved with Chubby with CMC Rocks The Hunter and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, the band I was managing when I started in the business was in Hobart, yeah. And Michael grew up and was born in Launceston. I actually come from South Australia, but my folks moved to Tassie when I was about 7 or 8. So I grew up in Hobart, and when I was starting to think, okay, this band wants to have a go in Sydney, I started asking around the venues and people in the music business down there, you know, have you got any contacts? And one name kept coming up, and it was Michael Chug, who I never met and didn't know. Anyway, I got to Sydney and I had his number. I gave him a call and said, hey, you know, I'm from Tasmania, I've got this band, and so-and-so said I should give you a call. He said, oh, come on over to the office. So I went over to his office, you know, and I knew fuck all about the business, really. And Chuggy sat with me for about 3.5 hours, and I left with a bloody book of numbers and names, and he says, go talk to all those people. And, you know, I just started getting out on the streets with all those names and getting the band work. And, you know, Michael and he rang me a few times after that, how's it going? And I checked back in on a couple of contacts with him, and we just became friends, which probably went on for the next 20 years. Didn't really do any business together at all. And then, actually, the way we started to work together was I'd been working with Keith Urban for about, 15 years, and we were really struggling to build his profile in this country. And I said to Michael, you know, because he'd seen Keith and was really impressed with him, and by this stage, Keith was starting to take off in America pretty big. And I said, I need your help. Let's do a fucking big tour over here. We'll get someone else to come out with him and stop pissing around in these small venues with him and put him in the arenas. So we actually paired him up with Leanne Rimes, who'd broken pretty big in this part of the world. They did a tour, and we booked Keith as the opening act and Leanne Rimes as the headline act. And after the first show, Leanne Rimes' manager came up to us and said, hey, we're not following him anymore, but put him on last.
Wow.
You know, it's a pretty hard show to beat.
How often does that happen in the music business?
Well, it just shows you how smart Leanne Rimes is, you know, 'cause it's like she then owned a space and people loved her, and then Keith came out afterwards and went bang, as opposed to Keith, which is, you know, pretty much a full-on rock show. And then, you know, Leanne, who's a pretty traditional country singer, coming out behind that and trying to... So it worked anyway. That was Michael and my first tour together, and it was the first time Michael had sort of dabbled in country. And
seems as though he fell in love with it after that.
Yeah, well, you know, Michael's a really smart operator. That's why he's the biggest promoter in the country, and we just partnered up. You know, Michael and I have never had a written note between us. We've never written anything down, and yet we've, you know, done multi-million-dollar tours and stuff together, and now we own a festival that's, well, we own a couple, and we're just about to start a third one. And you know, he's a great buddy, and he's a, you know, fantastic guy to work with. His experience and what he brings to the table is awesome. And it's been a real advantage for us with Michael's brand behind country music. It brings the credibility to it that my brand didn't have. So, you know, I got all the contacts with that country market. I work in America a lot. I'm on the board of the Country Music Association of America. So I've got all the contacts with the artists and the managers in this market. Michael brings the media and just the...
He's got the machine to drive it here.
Yeah, and the music, I mean, the credibility, if you like. It just, it gives country a credibility it has struggled to have in the past.
Do you think now that country is starting... I mean, it's always had traction, but not as much as you would like it to have, especially when you see how big it is in the US. Do you think now it's finally, because that brand you guys have built, it's finally sort of starting to see the light of day?
I get asked that question all the time, and the true answer is I don't really know. And these days I don't actually give a fuck anymore. It's like I've learned over 25 years of country music that there is a really good sized market in Australia. You know, probably 20% of the population like it and indulge in it in various ways. That's a big market, you know, and they come out and buy the tickets. We've learned how to get to those people. So if we don't get the media's help on it, then tough shit.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No, you know, and these days it's all about sort of your one-on-one contact as either as an artist to your fans, or in our case as promoters to our customers. We talk to them on through our databases and, you know, engage them that way, so we can get to, you know, after all these shows we've done together over the years now, you know, we've got 15 to 20,000 people between us on a direct database. And So yeah, and country will be cooler at different times and less cool at others. But for some reason in Australia, there's a section of the population that just don't want to think it's cool. I mean, here we are at BigSound in its 10th year, and it's the first time country's had any sort of profile or any presence in the conference at all. And that, talking to Graham Ashton about that, Asho just, he got it, and Chuggy and I said, look, we need to bring it in. It's it's a serious part of the business, and there's a serious fan base out there, and it doesn't deserve to be ignored as a genre. But fans are fans, they like what they like, and I'm good with that. I don't need them all to fucking say country music's cool or we're in love with country music.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like hip-hop music much or rap music much, but I don't have a problem with the people that do. Good luck to them. That's their music of choice, and yeah.
Excellent, Rob. Well, thank you very much for that insight. Well, one last thing before we go. Over your 25 years in the country music biz and starting out, what's the one driving force that's kept you going? Because I mean, there are times when you just go, I've fucking had enough. Everyone goes through that. What's driven you through that time?
Look, you know what? I don't think I've ever reached that point in the business. The closest I got to it was when I was talking about the rock and roll days earlier on, and I was just going, oh, fuck, I don't want to have people swearing and yelling at me. But apart from that, I feel pretty lucky to have had a career doing this stuff. And as I've moved through it, it was getting the Australian country music going. We had a big booking agency that toured all of those acts locally. Then I wanted to get the international thing going, so we now tour internationally. Then we wanted to start to build a couple of new big festivals, which we've done, and we're in the middle of consolidating that. And most recently for me, it's getting back into management, which is where I started. And we manage, as you know, Jasmine Rae and a young guy called Morgan Evans, who I think's got a huge future. Both of those acts have got a shot in America, I think. So what drives me these days is the desire to take an Australian country artist and break them in Nashville. And that excites me and challenges me, and everything else I'm doing, I'm enjoying.
Well, I've no doubt that will happen. So, and we'll continue to follow, because I really enjoyed Jasmine's set last night, and there were elements missing that you said that couldn't be a part of the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing the full one, because if that wasn't the full show last night, wow, that was really good to see. So thank you very much for your time, Rob.
Appreciate it, and good luck with Industry Insiders. It's a really good thing to be doing.
Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate the support and all your help that you've given me at BigSound, and thank you so much for talking Chuggy into coming over yesterday and having a chat.
He's a fun rave, isn't he?
I really enjoyed it. So now Rob Potts Entertainment Edge, you can find you guys online.
Yeah, just entertainmentedge.com.au.
All right, well we'll put it up there and go check it out and see what Rob's doing, and do get out there and support the country music, because there are some great artists, and it definitely is a fantastic genre, and we do need to give it some more attention. Rob Potts here from BigSound 2012 for Industry Insider. We'll talk to you soon.